Hi, everyone. Thanks for connecting for this info session. My name is Bianca Corujo, and I'll be your host today. We're going to give a few minutes for everyone to connect. In the meantime, I'll explain to you the dynamic. So we took the liberty of pre-recording this session in which you'll get all the information, and then afterwards, we'll go into Q&A. So I'm looking forward to all of your questions. Feel free to either drop them on the chat during the video or stay until the end so we can discuss them. So let's get started. Hi everyone, thanks for waiting. As I mentioned before, my name is Bianca Corujo and I'm the Ventures Manager here at P18, where my role is preparing startups for fundraising, managing an investor network, and also managing the portfolio when we invest in startups. And today, I'll be your hostess for this info session. And this is a map of what we'll be seeing today. First off, we'll be talking about what is P18. Secondly, what makes the P18 program outstanding. Thirdly, what do you get when you participate? Is your startup what we're looking for? How does the program work? Why Puerto Rico? What is the application and program timeline? And lastly, how to apply. So first off, what is Perla 18? So I know this is a very dense slide, but it's super simple. We're an investment platform located in Puerto Rico, and our main goal is to support startups from all over the world. And we're part of the Puerto Rico Science, Technology, and Research Trust, a nonprofit organization located here in Puerto Rico as well, in which they obviously focus on science and technology, and we get to leverage a lot of those programs, from Technology Transfer Office to research grants. We've been operating for the past 10 years, and this is a little bit of our metrics. We've graduated over 600 companies. We've deployed $4.4 million in our portfolio companies. Our alumni have generated 1,200 jobs. And lastly, and my favorite number, is that 74% of these startups are still active. And I think that really speaks about the job that we do here and everything that we offer the startups. That you're going to see in a second, it's a lot. Pearl 18 has 3 main programs, starting with BioLeap, our incubation focused on life sciences. Then we have Expand, which is for mature companies focused on technical assistance. And in the middle is the reason why we're here today, which is P18, our international accelerator. So this is our last cohort. Here you can see startups from Japan, Finland, Kazakhstan, Chile, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico. So what we do is that we see startups from all over the world, and you end up in this demo day. And more importantly, you end up making connections. So what is the P18 program? As I mentioned before, International Accelerator. And in this program, you'll get $100,000 of an investment through a SAFE, the terms being MFN, which is most favorite nation. It's very founder friendly. It just means that you're in charge of the terms for your next round. We will be selecting up to 18 companies for them to participate in a 20-week curriculum. So we already covered the investment. Now let's go into everything else that P18 has to offer. First off, we have a vast investor network in which you can get connected with. Secondly, we have a long list of multinationals and corporate partners for you to do business with, whether it's in Puerto Rico or outside of Puerto Rico. You have amazing mentors that we're curating that list for the past 10 years. We have some very solid names. And you also get hand-on-hand help from the P18 team full of experts. And lastly, we have a perks app with a lot of service providers that total in value of $500,000. So what else do you get? You get a community beyond borders and cohorts. You don't only get access to a current cohort, but also the 600 alumni through our Slack channel. You have a chance to scale globally. I like to see P18 and Puerto Rico as a launchpad between US and LATAM, or LATAM and US, depending on your strategy. And you get access to the Puerto Rican entrepreneurial ecosystem. We're talking about 260 organizations that actively do events and are prepared to help startups. So one more thing about Pearl 18 is that we have 2 sub-programs ready to help you. First off is P18 Ventures, and secondly, P18 Connect. So P18 Ventures is where I work at, and what we do is that we prepare you for your fundraising, we manage the investor network, and also the portfolio in which we invest in. Secondly, you have P18 Connect, in which they help you connect with the multinationals and the corporate sponsors that we talked about beforehand. And here they do a lot of events for the entrepreneurial ecosystem to connect. So what do we ask from startups? First off, innovation. We're looking for early stage startups with 3 or less years of experience. Secondly, solid traction. When I say this program is competitive, it really is. So make sure that you can demonstrate that product market fit. Even if you're not selling or pre-revenue, show us those LOIs, show us that interest and that traction. We also ask you to move to Puerto Rico for 5 months, not only because of economic development, but because if you see the strategic fit with Puerto Rico, there is so much business to do here. We also look for scalabilities, companies that have a product that can easily adopt to new markets. We say from Puerto Rico pa'l mundo, from Puerto Rico to the world. We want big markets, big opportunity for you guys. You also need to have a plan for performance in Puerto Rico. This includes hiring, acquiring customers, among others. We want you to be able to leverage your time here and do the best that you can for your startup. And lastly, at least 2 full-time founders should be working on the company. So, we've been mentioning Puerto Rico a lot, but why do business in Puerto Rico? First off, this is a strategic location. It's a gateway both to the US and Latin American markets with bilingual talent and US jurisdiction advantages. Secondly, a rich cultural experience. It's the work hard, play tropical vibe. Puerto Rico has warm weather year-round and a vibrant community and beautiful beaches. We also have a growing talent pool, as in a skilled workforce in tech, finance, creative industries, plus ties to local universities. And lastly, a collaborative ecosystem, a tight-knit startup culture with the resources, networking events, and opportunities for partnerships. So how does the program actually work? It's divided into Phase 0 and the actual P18 curriculum. Let's go first into Phase 0. Phase 0 is through the month of April, it's those 4 weeks, in which you will get an individual assessment with a P18 expert team. And how it works is that every week it's divided between investment, operations, mac and cheese, which is what we call marketing and communications department, and business development. So you'll get a one-on-one support in which you'll get to know your startup a little bit better. That's our due diligence. But you can also leverage our office hours and ask us directly what you want to work with and get that expert advice. So first you're going to have a meeting with the team between Monday and Tuesdays, and then from Wednesday to Fridays are those office hours. So it's completely virtual, it's completely on your time, and it's through the month of April. And then from those 30 startups that will be participating in Phase 0, we will meet with our investment committee and bring it down to 18. Those 18s are the ones who are going to participate in the P18 program and are going to be receiving the $100,000 safe investment. So what we do here is that we do 2 boot camps, one in July and one in October. Those are the 4 weeks in which you have to be in Puerto Rico because we really want you to go outside of Puerto Rico and travel, meet with investors, look for clients. But in the meantime, those 4 weeks are going to be for curriculum with expert mentors and the team here. We'll be having KPI meetings on Mondays because we use a KPI methodology to track your performance and really push you. Because if you go for P18, it's to really accelerate your startup and make the most out of this program. We also have investor showcases, and we finish with a demo day with the entrepreneurial ecosystem and the investors in the island and the ones that travel to the island to see the P18 cohorts. So here's a little bit about the team. As you can see here, this is operations. We have Noe Crespo, our associate director. At the top, you have the investment readiness component team, which is myself, Fabiola, and Gabriela. Each one of us have our own expertise within investment. At the bottom, you have the operations team with capacity building and technical assistance, led by Silmari Diaz, Laura Diaz, and Mineiri Ramos. Then you have the mac and cheese, the marketing and communications, with Menchu, Carol, Daliana, which is business development, Alison, Jailin, Augusto, and Berenice. And lastly, you have the VCAP team, in which I will be explaining in a moment what that is. So the VCAP is the Venture Capital Access Program. It's an additional fund that we have. It's $30 million, and we invest in startups located in Puerto Rico. It's a co-investment mechanism, and if you raise money from accredited investors, you can match for the VCAP to invest as well. So let's go into application and the evaluation process. So here's the timeline. As you already know, the open call already launched in January 22nd, but you have until March 1st at exactly 11:59 p.m. to submit your applications. Make sure that you're really diligent with that because we make no excuses for anyone. So you have a lot of time, work on it on your own time, but make sure to submit it before the date. Then we'll be going to the evaluation and judging process in March. And then we move on to phase 0, the virtual component of the program, and due diligence with a personalized assessment in April. Then we'll be doing the official selection in May. And lastly, the program starts on July 6th. So a little bit about the application. We really made it short and sweet. It's 30 minutes to complete, and this is what you're going to be seeing. Solution and innovation, metrics and traction, fundraising and financials, ecosystem and Puerto Rico commitment, team information, video pitch, and demo. Make sure to have your video pitch, demo, pitch deck, and data room before you fill out the application because we will be asking for those. But once you open the application, you'll see the disclaimer there that you need to have it. Something important that we should mention about the application is that once you start it, you can't save it. So make sure that you have that in mind while you're filling it out. If you want a separate document to copy paste your answers, that's totally fine, but make sure that you don't lose any of the information. So here's the selection criteria. It's equally weighted all around, but what we're going to be evaluating is product or service, the market and positioning, team composition and experience, proven traction, and the link with Puerto Rico. To give you a little bit of insight on how we do the selection process, first, we evaluate it internally here with P18, and then we have a selection committee with experts. As I mentioned before, we're going to have the month of due diligence in April to then finish off with an investment committee to choose them. So if you're ready to showcase the application, scan the QR code. Here you'll also find the FAQs, terms and conditions, and requirements. So now let's open it up for questions. Feel free to use this time. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So let's open up for questions. Who wants to go first? I see the first one is phase 0 physical event or virtual. It's 100% virtual. During the month of April, you're going to have initial meetings or interviews with the P18 team between Monday and Tuesdays, and then the office hours between Wednesday and Fridays. The cool thing about that is that you get to choose which time slots you want. So it's totally on your time. Just know that for those 4 weeks, you'll get to meet with the investment team, operations, marketing, communications, and business development. Do we need to have traction in Puerto Rico to participate in the program? Not necessarily. If you have traction in Puerto Rico, that's great. But if you have a plan, the point is that you get here to do business. So as long as you have a plan to do here and do business, that's more than okay. You don't need actual traction in Puerto Rico beforehand. Do both founders need to be present in July? Can it be one founder? Yes, it can be one founder as long as you put them as a lead of the team. How many startups get into phase 0? The phase 0 is going to be for 30 startups, and then we're going to select 18 startups. Those are the ones who are going to participate in P18 in the actual component between July and October and receive the $100,000 investment. Okay, anyone else? You can also open your mics. Feel free to do that.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
How are you? We just got here to Puerto Rico, and we have a digital agency. We specialize in producing content. We have some people working from abroad for us and so on. But we're not exactly a tech startup.
Okay.
We are in contact with tech companies, but we produce content, explainers, ads for them. Would our kind of company be included within this businesses that could benefit from this program, or would be excluded because we provide a service that is nothing innovative, let's say? I mean, we are innovative in a way, but we don't have this, thing that is.
Well, with complete transparency, we do look for innovative and scalable startups. It's not necessarily that you aren't one of those. What I like to say in Spanish is los no son gratis, like no's are for free. Still
Okay.
apply to the program and see if you can get in.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Okay, apparently we have a hand up. Feel free to open up your mic and ask the question.
Hey, Bianca, I really appreciate your time. Just two very quick questions.
Mhm.
First, the our version of the product has been around for around 2 years, a year and a half,
Okay,
but our company has been incorporated earlier. Is that okay for application?
that's okay for the application, but make sure to explain that.
Got it. Okay. And then second question for the 100K safe, is there a valuation cap or discount?
No, the safest MFN, which is most favorite nation, it includes no discount, no valuation cap. What the MFN does is that when you have a price round, we're going to
Yeah,
do a copy paste of the best terms that any other investor participating has. So technically, we get good terms depending on what there is, but you're also in charge of what those terms are, depending on what you negotiate with other investors.
fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. So we have another question in the chat is if different industries are weighted differently or if you have a preference for industry. They're all weighted the same. What we try to do though is that we accept startups that we know you can help. So for example, if we have connections in biotech or biomanufacturing or aerospace or ag tech or fintech, we have a lot of connections overall, but if we feel that we can help you and truly help you accelerate, we definitely take that into consideration. But overall, throughout the different industries and weightings, everything is the same. Of course. Anyone else? Feel free, you have the time, ask all the questions. Sebastián, cuéntame.
Hi, Bianca. Thanks for the information. Is there a timeline for to your next price round? I know that determines somewhat scalability and whatnot. So, given acceptance and whatnot, what is the timeline expected for participants to get to their first round?
I wouldn't say there's an established timeline because we even accept if you're in your pre-seed, not necessarily your seed, just as long as that's something that you're looking for to do the next steps. Doesn't have to be a price round, but definitely pre-seed or seed in the next year.
And follow-up question, there was a term that I'm somewhat unfamiliar with
Mhm.
is bridge rounds. Can you elaborate on that a
Yes.
little bit more?
So bridge rounds are, for example, if you're doing your pre-seed and you want a little bit of extra money to meet those goals before you go to your next round, that would be a bridge.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.
Awesome. Okay, so we have another question here. Okay, we have a few questions. What type of traction is P18 looking for? Just show us that you're getting to product market fit. For example, not all of the startups are the same. Biotech, a lot of them are pre-revenue. We totally get that. But maybe you can show LOIs, you can show organic growth, number of customers, number of paying customers. It really ranges. But show us that what you're doing, people want to pay for it. So the next question is, my startup is in a pre-seed round. Can we apply 100%? That is totally the profile that we're looking for. So next up is if the founder has a regular job and is starting the startup, do you recommend leaving their regular job to focus on the boot camp? Okay, so I can't give any recommendations, but what I can say is that we're looking for full-time founders dedicated to their startup. It's totally okay if this is not the year, maybe it's the next one, but we are looking for full-time founders. And then we have another question is, what if your existing portfolio has a similar solution? Does not matter. Everyone has pivots throughout their lifetime. Everyone focuses on different geographical areas and startups just evolve. There's no problem with that. Tino, I see your hand up. What's up?
Hi. So I'm a single person founder. My team is about an 8-person team.
Okay.
We're distributed all over the place. We're building a social network. We built a social network. We are right now getting to market right now. And I was wondering, is this something that would be, I'm based here in San Juan. And I'm wondering, is this something that would be a good fit for the application? Because I see that in the application, it did say single person founders are not, we don't accept that. But, we have an 8-person team. So,
Oh, yeah, I get it. Do you have other C-level team members in your team?
C-level members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apply. I've seen that we give preference for when they have 2 full-time founders, but even those still apply and put that in writing that you have other C-level founders. Employees.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Okay. I think we're done with the chat questions. If you have more, feel free. This is your time. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. What if we are not looking to fundraise beyond this in the immediate future as we are focused on sustaining growth through profitability? Are we a fit? We're looking for venture backable startups. So ideally you would keep raising money and eventually get to a price round. If this is not the fit that you're looking for, then maybe look for, you can still apply, but just so you know, that is the profile that we're looking for. If the MVP or product is still in the development phase, we will be launched in June, can we submit the application even though there is no traction yet? You can, but remember that traction looks very different. For example, you can get interested people through subscribing to a newsletter or stuff like that. So just keep in mind that just because you're not launched yet doesn't mean that you don't have any traction. Traction is not necessarily when people are already paying for your product. You can get traction before that. Is it mandatory to set up a company in Puerto Rico, or is it okay to be in the US? I believe that you will need a permit stating that you are authorized to do business in Puerto Rico, but it's okay if you're a Delaware C Corp. Tino, I see that you still have your hand raised. Let me know if this is a new question or if it's the same as before.
Separate question.
Okay.
Could we get a clear picture about what the safe is, and is there a discount, or is there a cap, stuff like that?
Of course. So the safe has no valuation cap and no discount. It's an MFN, most favorite nation. You can actually find it. We use the one in YC. It's totally transparent. If you go to the website right now and go on their resources, you can take a look at it. It's completely transparent. What the MFN does is that when you do a price round, it will be a copy paste of the best terms that an investor participating has. So it's very family friendly, and technically you're in control of the terms that we will have, depending on what you negotiate with other investors. Okay, so I see another question for the 20% weight on product or service. What exactly goes into criteria for that? So what we look for is innovation, scalable, and I think all of them kind of rhyme with each other, but ideally is the demo that you have, the progress, if it's in-house, outsourced, and all of those things. Any other questions?
Hey, Bianca, we're an education company selling into schools, districts. Could you talk a little bit more about P18's connections in the EdTech environment?
Yeah, of course. We actually had a similar company in that space last year. They were called Blast, and they were running all over Puerto Rico, meeting with different schools and the Department of Education. So we do have connections in that area. And if it's STEM specifically, you could leverage the Puerto Rico Science, Technology, and Research Trust program related to that. We also have a lot of ties to local universities, etc.
Thank you.
Of course. And we could also connect you to the alumni that they ran all over Puerto Rico. They really did their job at doing their job.
Yeah, Rokio's great. I known her. She recommended me here.
That's awesome. Ivan?
Yes, very similar to the last question. Could you share any success stories or cases on which startups have, tapped into the Puerto Rico ecosystem, or what are the best use cases and how to take advantage of that?
Yeah, of course. So we have this portfolio company that used to be called the Live Green Group. Now they're called the Bio. They're based in Dubai. And just recently they've been in a portfolio for maybe like 5 years. They recently decided that they wanted to like go into Puerto Rico, and we got them a meeting with Invest Puerto Rico, with the Department of Economic Development, and the Puerto Rico Science Technology Research Trust CEO. So they've raised $11.5 million. I think that's a good example of us as helping our portfolio companies kind of get here into Puerto Rico.
But for example, if we are a B2B startup, I guess my question is, like working with core enterprise companies over there or businesses, like, do you have any success stories on startups that have, I don't know, closed deals or made partnerships or they're grown their revenue through you guys?
Yeah, of course. A lot of use cases. To give an example, Price App, what they do is that they're kind of an app on your phone for employees to measure the time that they're on their phones. So, for example, they did a business with Encanto that they have a few McDonald's here in the island. I think the supermarket, bueno, I'm in between two and I don't want to say something that's not true, but I think it was either Econo or Pueblo. They also did business with them, and that was all through Pearl 18.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We can also get into the Puerto Rican life for all of those who are international. Wait, I see a question here. Even if not selected in the 18 companies, can you help with some perks like AWS, Active Portfolio, or Stripe? So sadly, the perks will be for the P18 companies, but participating in phase 0, you get to have office hours with the expert team at Pearl 18 and get a personalized assessment at a 360 of your startup. And we're planning to incorporate as a USC Corp very soon. Would that be acceptable if it's completed shortly after this stage? Yeah, no problem with that. And, another question?
Yeah. So we have a go-to-market strategy that's going to require at least 120 grand.
Okay.
I'm wondering if the investment that we do receive, we would need to get. We're looking to raise a larger round quite soon. Is that something that we'd be able to get some support from in terms of raising money from this and things like that?
100%. So part of the P18 Ventures sub-program, our job is to help you, prepare you for fundraising, connecting you with investors, doing private showcases with investors. We will definitely be helping you with that.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. If my startup is currently validating market and customers, does that count as traction for P18? If you have some numbers, because I think we will be asking you in the phase 0 about customer discovery. But if you have some numbers on that, then maybe you can get them to, we call this KPI demand creation. What would be the next step to closing that? So maybe if it's joining a list or signing an LOI, try to see what you can do there for it to count as traction. Okay. Anyone else? Good so far? Let me know.
Yes. If just so we have a clearer picture, what is like the process of what you're looking for? There's a lot of different startups in many different industries. There's so much opportunity, whether it's healthcare, whether it's in thing. We're in the travel sector, so that's our social network is based on travel sector. So significantly affected from COVID and whatnot. Is there certain areas that you focus on that you see opportunities that you're trying to, see transformations in, or?
Yeah, so when it comes to spaces, we like to say that we're industry agnostic. As I said before, if we feel that we can help you like tremendously and significantly, we definitely take that into consideration. We've seen startups from all over the world with different industries. Travel definitely is one. We had UTripper not too long ago, and they ended up going into our Expand program as well. So we do have connections in that, specifically because Puerto Rico is very big on tourism. So I see a question here. Bianca, the startup to receive the money must create the company in Delaware or Puerto Rico. Are you asking if you should be a Delaware C Corp or a Puerto Rico LLC? And Rafael, if you can give me a little bit more context on that question, that would be great. And for Jose, for now, I'm solo founder, but I can look for more help. Do you need the other co-founder to have equity in the company, or it can be an advisor? I guess that depends on what you want. If you have a co-founder that it's okay being an advisor, not having shares, but it's typically equity I mean, you typically give shares to the co-founder, but that's totally on you and that's your process.
Bianca, Rafael here.
Hi.
Yes, my question is, we must create it in Puerto Rico, a company, or can we use like the Delaware or other servers?
You can be incorporated in the US. It could be a Delaware C Corp, but you will need a permit to do business in Puerto Rico that you also need to fill that out. I've seen a lot of startups that what they do is that they, for example, they're a Delaware C Corp and they also open a subsidiary as a PR LLC,
Okay.
but that's on you and that's your legal structure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
just to attach to that, is that required to be done right away before applying? I mean, like during the application process, something?
You mean the registration or the permit to do business in Puerto Rico?
Right. Yeah, the registration as a subsidiary here, or right, vice
We can
versa.
do
If
it
you could
afterwards.
would it make sense to set up the company here as like the primary company, the umbrella company owning the Delaware C Corp or something like that?
I've seen it the other way around, specifically for fundraising, because Delaware C Corp, it's kind of like the go-to when you're doing that. But I'll leave it to you, the timetable for it. I don't know if you'd rather wait a little bit, maybe when you're in phase 0, or even if you're selected after phase 0 for the P18 program, then you can take care of that. I've seen a lot of startups do it beforehand. We try to let you guys know between May and June, usually May. So you have time to prepare and do all these things before you move here to the island. Did that help?
Sure did. Thank you.
Awesome. So we have another question here is, we're 3 co-founders, including myself as a sole full-time and PSC, more than 80, would that count? Yeah, sure. You have more than 1 co-founder full-time, definitely go for it. Okay, I've been trying to get all the questions. If I miss one in the chat, feel free to let me know. Anyone else wants to open their mic and do another question? Okay, the time we should be based in PR is July and September. So ideally you would move here for the 4 months of the program, but yes, mandatory presence has to be in the 2 boot camps. One of them is going to be in July and the other one is going to be in September. But we will let you know those dates in advance so you can block them on your calendar, because those 4 weeks in total are full curriculum with experts from all over the world that come here to talk to you guys.
Bianca,
Co-founders, go
sorry,
for it.
another. What do you think? What is the best of your program? If no, I don't know about Puerto Rico and so on. What do you think? What is the thing that you said? Okay, this program is really amazing or different to other ones.
And I have to choose one. I would have to say that we've been operating for 10 years. That means that our mentor list is very curated. And even though we work on a cohort basis, you get a lot of personalized, individualized help. For example, you not only get the cohorts, but you can also have one-on-one time with the mentors. And the team is really, really, really open to giving office hours to you guys. So at the end of the day, you do kind of like pick a lane. And we also do these things with the KPI meetings that I mentioned on Mondays. We divide you into what we call in Puerto Rico corillos, like groups of startups that have similarities to you. And those groups within themselves help each other. You go through what you've done, the progress, your KPIs. So I think is that you get the best of both worlds. You get to meet other people, other industries, other founders, other international. And then you also get the personalized touch. I feel like I cheated a bit and said a few things, but that's I tried.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We have another question here. Can the co-founders split their time in person in July? Technically, yes. I think we can save that question for when you're in the program, but ideally the lead would be here if you have something that you have to do, a call with an investor that you need to travel or something like that, then we can work it out. Tino.
Yes. One more. So my CTO and the COO are distributed. They're not. They don't live here.
Okay.
Is it okay that they are, and as well as the developers? We have somebody in Germany and somebody in the Philippines, and yeah. So it's like, would this be an issue with No?
No.
Okay. So I'm obviously the lead. Would it be okay if I'm the one who's primarily here doing everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
All right. Right on.
Okay. Anyone else? Awesome. And my team here is letting me know to recall or highlight that we end with a demo day, and it's important for all of the startups to be here in the demo day to present. And that's going to be in October. And let's see what else I can tell you guys. Remember that the application is already open. You have until March 1st at 11:59 p.m. We're very stringent about that, so make sure to submit beforehand. I see a question with a hand up. Let me know.
Hi, yes, thank you again for all of this information. I was wondering, for the programming that's in person, are there different resources for different industries? I know this is more specific to us. We're a CPG brand, so I know that's very different from tech, for example. So would love to know maybe a little bit about how that could differ depending on the industry.
Yeah, of course. So we've had actually CPGs before. For example, Amasar is one of them. They're actually in our portfolio. So I think the connections that we do is a very personalized basis. That's when we start the program. We do an initial meeting with all of you guys. And then we list out every contact that we have here in Puerto Rico to connect with you guys. And something that you can do as well is that you can do research. And if you find a contact here in Puerto Rico, we will find a way to connect with them. And we will do the outreach for you. That's a P18 sub program. Well, no, P18 Connect sub program that is focused on B2B connections.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. And I've seen it from sales to R&D to a mentor for packaging for your CPG products. We recently had Medera Biotech and we really helped them out with that. So I see another question here. Does the investment occur before the program starts? And should we budget for travel and accommodation upfront, or is any support provided? So the investment is going to be provided once you've been chosen for the P18 program. It's probably going to be, well, no, let me not say that. It gets once you start the program. And the other question is, should we budget for travel and accommodation up front? So you can use part of the investment for that. And support provided. We do give you kind of like a Puerto Rico playbook, like where you could stay, what things to do, and all of those things. Any other questions? No? We're good? Excited? Awesome. Pues make sure to fill out that application. This is a very, very, very good opportunity. It's the first time we're doing a ticket size like this. And if you can get it for your startup and really scale, it's very good. And you can leverage it for your rounds. So if you have any other questions, feel free to contact the P18 team. We will be doing other types of info sessions, and we'll be interviewing alumni so you can get a bit of experience on what the program is, and also bringing investors from our network to talk with you guys. So yeah, keep the eye out for social media and other things we'll be doing. And hopefully we'll get to see you here in Puerto Rico. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.